victims and 23 were male victims. Inanda, Umlazi in KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape Lusikisiki police station recorded the highest incidence of rape. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to assure the nation that there is no shortage of evidence collection kits, also known as rape kits, in all police stations across the country. A 3-year-old contract entered into with a supplier in 2019 to provide these essential kits is still on place. The availability of the rape kits at all provinces is confirmed on a weekly basis, and replenishment is done as per the station's request. So the statement by the EFF calling for my head due to what it terms as shortage of rape kits in 70% of police stations since July 2020 is false and downright misleading. Trying to score cheap political points using the painful ordeal of thousands of rape victims and survivors is just disgusting, to say the least. This is just not true. This should have been easily checked by whoever issued the statement and find out that that's not true. Let me also remind the nation that the GBV and femicide remains a priority crime for the SABC. We are on daily basis improving our service and responses at station level. At the SABC, we are motivated that numerous life sentences have been handed down for crimes committed against women and children. In the 3 months of reporting period, the FCS secured 129 life sentences. These life sentences were secured in 3 months. I really hope these jail terms also reassure victims of the GBV of our efforts as law enforcement to bring them to justice, but also assure the society out there that we are trying our best. 19 people were killed in 18 incidents of murder which occurred in farms and small holdings. While most of the people died in the hands of the criminals, unfortunately, some of those were killed by farm owners and the farm managers. There was some good news for those who own property and livestock. All property-related crimes decreased by 15.8%. Stock theft, which has been problematic over the last couple of years, also recorded a decrease of 6.9%. Burglary at a residential and non-residential premises declined drastically. Theft of vehicles and motorcycles also declined by over 20%. Assault figures show that violence stalks our society, and in many cases, the violence is aggravated by alcohol abuse. 50,124 cases of assault were opened with the police in the 3 months of reporting. The noticeable areas of occurrence of these assaults are at the home of the victim or perpetrators, public places, and liquor outlets. The crimes feared most by South Africans, which happens to be the trio crimes, aggravated robberies such as car hijack, increased by 7%. There were 77% more residential robberies in the month of October to December 2020. However, there has been some of relief for business owners. 374 less businesses were robbed during this time. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the country's trucking industry. An increase in the targeting of delivery vans and trucks was recorded. Majority of the vehicles, including courier vans, were targeted for their cargo, which is usually food, appliances, and other price goods. Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that SABC must change its responses to cash in transit robberies. The current plan is in place now is clearly not working. There were 26 more attacks on cash vans in the third quarter of 2020-2021 financial year. Yes, on this one, National Commissioner leading the national management and all provincial management. If you are to win against this, SABC must go back to the drawing board and work with speed. We will also, in the coming days, meet with the CEOs of the cash and transit industry and work closely with this community of this work. As I conclude, in spite of the bleak situation and also being in the midst of the pandemic, we must and we will do more to turn this crime picture around. On that score, thanking the members of the South African Police for being there even under these trying conditions. I remain concerned about the Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, and the Western Cape provinces, which these states show are regressing in their fight against crime. Meanwhile, some of the provinces have shown a significant improvement in this regard, led by the Eastern Cape, which has done very well. The 4 provinces recorded over 10% increases in the crime of murder. As the Police Ministry and Police Management, we have taken a decision to have operational oversight in the 4 provinces and monitor them closely. We expect a turnaround plan to be adopted and executed urgently and effectively. Failure to do so must result in serious consequences. Commissioner, there must be an accountable led by yourself and the management. It can't be business as usual. We must all have sleepless nights over these crime numbers. We must exert ourselves in the quest to deliver our mandate as the SABC, which is to protect and serve the people of this country. This is a matter of life and death, and complacency won't be tolerated, and we'll put extra energy and put our shoulder on the wheel going forward. For the rest of the actual figures, I will then allow General Skukuni to give us the actual figures and the raw figures. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Can I take off my mask?
Yeah.
Thank you, Minister, Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, DNC, DPCI, members of the media, and the public in general. I will be taking you through a short summarized version of the 2021 Q3 crime statistics. The full presentation will be made available on the SABC website immediately after our presentation, together with the tables that you are used to will be obtained from the SABC website. This will be made immediately available after the presentation that I'll be taking you through. As is the norm, we start with the table that gives a kind of a summary of the crimes that have been reported within the borders of South Africa for the quarter starting from the 1st of October up to the 31st of December 2020-2021. The broad category of contact crimes, we have recorded murder 389, sexual offenses 270 increase, attempted murder 438 increase, assault GBH 696 increase, common assault 276 increase. Then the decreases were recorded in common robbery and robbery with aggravating circumstances, and overall the broad category of contact crimes decreased by 1.4. Rape, as the Minister has alluded, has increased by 181 incidents. He mentioned that there were 12,218. Then the category of robbery with aggravating circumstances, which we have already touched on. Here in this table below, we're giving a detail in terms of what makes up that broad category of robbery with aggravating circumstances. Some of these crimes are made up of carjacking, which has increased by 332, robbery at residential premises, 77 increase, robbery at non-residential premises, a decrease of 374, cash in transit robberies, an increase of 26, there were no bank robberies, and there was an increase of 111 in terms of the truck hijacking. These crimes, ladies and gentlemen, have already been reported to under the robbery with aggravating circumstances category, under the broad category of contact crimes. Then the next slide, we look at the per capita, or what is normally called ratio per 100,000 of the population. These are instances whereby we take the whole population of the country, divide it into equal proportions of 100,000, and then measure the crime that have been reported within those 100,000 for specific crimes that are crimes against the person. The bottom table there gives that the murder is 10.5 per 100,000, rape 20.4 per 100,000, attempted murder on average was 8.5 for the 5 years per 100,000, assault GBH 83.8 per 100,000, common assault 80 per 100,000, and common robbery 19.8 per 100,000. These figures and the population estimates that were used were obtained from Stats SA using the 2017 series and also the month of October as the midpoint to compute the population as at that particular point in time. Then the broad category of contact-related crimes, malicious damage to property increased by 1.5. Then robbery, property-related crimes, all the crimes within this broad category have decreased. Burglary at non-rest decreased by 1,629. Burglary at rest 8,903. Theft of motor vehicle and motorcycle 1,673. Theft out of motor vehicle 5,761. And stock theft by 583. As I've already mentioned, these are all decreases in this particular crime, and the broad category of property-related crimes decreased by 18,549. Then other serious crimes, the only crime that has increased within that broad category was commercial crimes. And then on crime detected as a result of police action, the objective here, because it's a proxy for proactive policing, the ideal is to have these crimes increasing because it shows that more and more people and crimes are being detected. The only crime that has increased within that broad category was sexual offenses detected as a result of police action. Then when we look at the summary visually in terms of a graph, we notice that the blue line there represents, the green line is the 2018-2019 financial year. The blue line represents the 2019-20 financial year, and the yellow line or the gold line represents the 2020-2021 financial year. And then at the bottom there we have differences per month. We have for month of October, the month of November, and the month of December. And then the blue, I think bluish line, it shows the instances whereby the country was at level 1 lockdown, and then at the end, towards on the 15th of December, the president announced adjusted level 3. So this crime should be taken and analyzed and conceptualized in the context that we were at level 1 lockdown for that particular period. Then for all the 17 community reported crimes, all the provinces recorded decreases. As it has been indicated on the previous table, the broad category of the 17 community reported crimes all decreased. Then in terms of the stations that had reported the highest number of 17 community reported crimes, we had Honeydew, we had Park Road that are in the top 10. We have Johannesburg Central, Durban Central, Mitchell's Plain, Witbank, Cape Town Central, Kraaifontein, Temba, and Plessis Layer. The rest of the stations can be seen from the table. What is also encouraging is that even though the stations are in the top 30, one can observe that in terms of case differences, they have recorded decreases. The only increase comes at number 8 with Kraaifontein. Then when we look at the selected crimes that were as a result of domestic violence, we observe that for this particular period, the crime of murder, we have recorded 193 murders that were domestic related. The provinces that contributed the most to this crime was Western Cape with 42, Eastern Cape with 39, KwaZulu-Natal with 30. And overall, the victims of domestic related murder were 97 female and 96 were male. Gauteng and the Western Cape had the highest rape-related cases that were domestic-related. That is 138 in Gauteng and 136 in the Western Cape. Assault GBH, again it was Gauteng and the Western Cape. The rest of the crimes are indicated as such, whereby the sex of the victims is indicated in the blue line, where we have male and female, and then at the bottom we have the total for the country. Then in the next slide is a graphic representation in terms of the month whereby the crimes have been recorded. In October, we had 92 domestic violence related murders. We had 23 in November, and we had 78 in December. That is the murders that were domestic related. Then contact crimes, again, it shows I've explained the green, the blue, and the gold. These are the differences that were recorded in October, November, and December. And then in terms of the provinces that had recorded increases, we had the Free State, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and the Northwest. The rest of the other provinces recorded decreases in the broad category of contact crimes. Then in the top 30 contact crime station, we had 7 stations that were in the Western Cape. Gauteng had 17, and then KZN had 6 stations in the top 30, meaning the top 30 contact crime stations are made up of only 3 provinces, that is Gauteng, Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. Then we looked at the causative factors for selected crimes. We looked at murder, attempted murder, and assault GBH. In terms of murder, the most common causative factor for murder was arguments or misunderstanding, followed by robberies, house or business, then gang-related, and also vigilantism. Taxi-related murders that were recorded in this period were 89, and 57 victims, unfortunately, were rape-related, whereby the victim was raped and then subsequently killed. Illicit mining were 16, and those that resulted as a result of a car hijacking or attempt were 18. This is drawn from a sample of 5,773 cases that were reported in the quarter 3 of 2020-2021. Then attempted murders, the highest contributor again was arguments or misunderstanding with 1,442, then robberies, and then gang-related 378. This was from a sample of 4,900 cases that were reported. Similarly, assault GBH. So across all the 3 crimes that we have identified, murder, attempted murder, and assault GBH, the highest contributor collectively is arguments or misunderstanding. Then we look at the places whereby these 3 identified crimes occurred. Then again, we see that public places in terms of murder was the highest contributor, followed by residences of the perpetrator, also indicating that in the previous slide where we mentioned that most of these murders happened as a result of arguments and misunderstanding. This is further supported by that, they also happen in the residences of the perpetrator, victims, showing that there is some kind of a relationship, mostly between the victim and the perpetrator. Similarly, attempted murders, the highest place where this occurs were in the residence of the perpetrators and assault GBH. Liquor outlets were recorded 399 murders and 4,488 assault GBH. Educational institutions, 7 murders were recorded as such facilities. This includes schools, universities, colleges, daycare center, and facilities. 11 attempted murders happened at such facilities and 89 assault GBH. Also at tuck shops, that is mostly robberies, 27 of the murders happened at tuck shops, 21 attempted murders at tuck shops, and assault GBH were 31. Then when we look at the contact crimes where it was specifically mentioned that either the victim or the perpetrator had used alcohol prior to the commission of the crime, we see that 516 murders happened whereby it was confirmed that either the victim or the perpetrator had used alcohol. 1,383 rapes where the victim or the perpetrator used alcohol, and assault GBH 5,722 where alcohol was involved. Of those incidents that happened exclusively at the place whereby they are selling alcohol, like liquor outlets, taverns, and shebeen, the 399 murders happened at such facilities, 167 attempted murders happened at where they are selling alcohol, and 44 rapes and 4,488 assault GBH happened at such facilities. Then, in terms of the murders, the narrative is the same because the graphs are set almost in a standardized format for ease of understanding. All the provinces that had recorded decreases were Limpopo, Northwest, and the Northern Cape. When one looks at the volume in terms of the number of murders that have been recorded, the province that recorded the highest volume was the province of KwaZulu-Natal with 1,437, then followed by Gauteng with 1,327, third was Eastern Cape with 1,204, and then Western Cape with 1,134. However, when one takes into consideration the population within the respective provinces, the province that recorded the highest number in terms of per 100,000 was the Eastern Cape with 18.4 per 100,000, Western Cape with 16.2 per 100,000, KwaZulu-Natal with 12.4 per 100,000, and the Free State with 10.4 per 100,000. Then, in terms of the top 30 murder stations for murder, most of the stations were in the Western Cape, that is 11, followed by Eastern Cape, 8, Gauteng had 6, and 5 were in KwaZulu-Natal. And in the top 10, only 3 provinces featured in the top 10. That is Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. The Eastern Cape only comes later on at number 11, with Umtata as the top 30 station, in the top 11. Then we've already touched on the causative factors for murder. In this instance, we are just simply indicating in which provinces these causative factors were most prevalent. Most causative factors, like we have indicated, were arguments and misunderstanding, and the province that recorded the highest number of murders related to misunderstanding and arguments was KZN with 368, followed by Gauteng with 229, and the Western Cape with 163. Then, in terms of business robberies, Gauteng recorded the highest number of causative factors attributed to robbery with 104, and then the Western Cape with 55. Gang-related murders, Western Cape recorded the highest number of gang-related murders with 187, Eastern Cape number 2nd with 42, Gauteng number 3 with 10, and then the Free State with 7 at number 4. Taxi-related murders were mostly recorded in the Gauteng province, and the Western Cape followed with 28, whereas in the Gauteng province we had 34, Western Cape had 28. Then we also looked at the matter of police officials. In this current quarter, the blue line indicates members of the police service that were killed while they were on duty, and the gray indicated number of police officials that were killed while they were off duty. 5 members succumbed while they were on duty, and 12 succumbed while they were off duty. In total, we had a decrease of 5 police officials that were killed. Then when we look at the murders at the farming community, we had 18 incidents of murders with 9 victims, whereby 7 of these murders happened in the Free State and then 4 in the Eastern Cape. And then on the table next to it, we had other crimes that had occurred whilst these murders were committed. Then on the next slide, we look at all the attacks on small holdings and farms, including the murder that we have already talked to. We had 109 counts in 88 incidents, and we had 52 robberies at the residential premises, 2 rapes, 1 malicious damage, and 9 theft of motor vehicle. Then in the next slide, we look at attacks on farms. We look at the farm dwellers or farm workers that were attacked as a result of farmers or farm management. We had recorded 3 murders that happened as a result of the farm dwellers being attacked as a result of the farm owner. Then the rapes, we had recorded 12,218 rapes, and then the provinces that recorded the increases in rapes was Gauteng with an increase of 111. Then Limpopo, we had an increase of 109. Western Cape, we had an increase of 106. And in Mpumalanga, 59, and the Northwest, 19. Overall, we had 181 increases in terms of rapes. The top 30 stations for this particular crime, 10 of these stations were in Gauteng, 7 were in the Western Cape, 4 were in Limpopo and KZN, 3 in the Eastern Cape, and Northwest and Mpumalanga had 1 station each in the top 30. Then when we look at the place of occurrence for these rapes, most of these rapes happened at the residences of the perpetrator or the victim, including residents known by victim or perpetrator, either a family friend or neighbors. 4,904 rapes happened at such places known to the offender or the victim. 920 were in the Eastern Cape, and we had 922 in KwaZulu-Natal and 769 in the Western Cape, whereby these rapes happened at the residence known by the perpetrator or the victim. And at educational institution, we had 24 rapes happening at such facilities. These numbers are extracted from a sample size of 7,933 cases of rapes that were recorded in the 3 months of 2021, starting in October up to December. Then the trio crimes, which are made up of carjacking, robbery res, and robbery non-residential, collectively added together to form the trio crimes. We had Free State recording an increase in that particular category of trio crimes, and also KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and the Western Cape. Then the top 30 stations, over half of these top 30 stations where trio crimes were recorded were in Gauteng. To be exact, 15 of these stations are actually in the province of Gauteng. The highest there within Gauteng was Ivory Park, Tembisa, and Honeydew. So those are the top 3 stations from Gauteng that are in the top 30 trio crimes. Then, in terms of hijacking, we had recorded 332 more cases of carjacking, And residential robbery, we had 77. Non-residential robberies, we had a decrease of 374. And we had also included the robbery of cash in transit within that slide to keep the numbers at the minimum. Then these are the graphical representation where we had illustrated where carjacking had increased. Then the provinces, the Eastern Cape recorded a decrease in terms of this particular crime, and Free State recorded the same number as in the previous court. The rest of the provinces recorded increases. Then these are the top 30 stations in terms of carjacking, and again, Gauteng had 16 stations in the top 30 carjacking stations. Then robbery at the residential premises, the provinces that had recorded decreases was the Eastern Cape, Gauteng, Limpopo, Northwest, Northern Cape, and those that have recorded increases was Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and the Western Cape. Then the top 30 stations in terms of robbery residential, they are indicated there, led by Plessis Liar in KwaZulu-Natal, followed by Ivory Park and Honeydew. Then robbery at non-residential premises, we had recorded decreases across the 3 months from October, November, and December. And the only provinces that had recorded increases was Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga. Then those are the stations that have recorded robbery at non-residential premises. Then robbery at cash in transit, it has increased across all the 3 months in October, November, and December, and the provinces are indicated there at the bottom. Then property-related crimes, we have indicated that it has decreased across all the crime categories, then including stock theft, where we had also recorded decreases from the month of October, November, and December. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a summary of the Q3 crime statistics that have been reported between the month of October up to the 31st of December 2021. I thank you.
You can take your...
Thank you very much, General, for that presentation. It is that time where we are taking questions and also providing answers. We are going to have to get our colleague from the GCIS, Takalani, to take us through the questions that are on WhatsApp. But just to remind our colleagues in the media about where you can send your questions to, the GCIS does have a WhatsApp platform that allows you to send your questions that are directed to our members on the panel. Takalani, would you just take us through maybe the first 5 questions? And I would really request that we take questions that are related to the crime stats for now. And of course, if there are other questions, we would do our best to take those questions. Takalani?
Thanks, Levanzo. And we have first question here from Mapela from the city. And the question is, Mamelodi residents have asked the minister to investigate the activities of the gang called Bopara that have been extorting money from residents and the township under siege. The question is the minister aware of this issue and this response to the residents' call? I trust him to follow the matter. And we have a question from Kamel Wachenbeck Robert from the SABC. And the question is, are you able to provide comment on the change in police management in the Western Cape? And another question from Tami from News 24. The question is, what is being done to deal with the Korea and robberies mentioned? Are there specific plans, task forces, special teams working with transport companies? And also, we have Patrick O'Leary from Fleetwood Track Magazine. And the question is, as you have stated, there has been a real increase in the hijacking of delivery vans and trucks. And the trucking industry has seen this and is losing millions in terms of assets. Will you support the formation of the National Truck Anti-Hijacking Task Team led by experienced subs members from the Organized Crime Investigation Unit, working in collaboration with private sector security responders and specialists?
All right, Takalani. Sure. Let's just keep it there. Thank you so much, Takalani. Minister, would you be able to please respond?
The question 4, is it about Western Cape in terms of transport?
The fourth question, Minister, is about the courier vans. And
No. There is, before that, I think it's about Western Cape robbery of the buses in Texas.
yeah. Can you just repeat that question for us, please, Takalani?
Fourth question.
Thanks, Minister. The question relates to the Western Cape was asked by a member from the Roberts from the SABC, and it relates to the change of management in the police. The question, as I read, is: are you able to provide comments on the change in police management in the Western Cape?
Jaga Commissioner in the Western Cape. Thank you very much. Some few hours ago, less than an hour, the murderer and the killer of the young woman, Miss Pule, was found hanging on the tree, has been given 35 years. Has been sentenced and given 35 years. We congratulate the team for having done the good work that we have received those. But more than that, somebody else has been picked up for the same case. We hope that that will take us forward to find out exactly what happened to Zolofelo Pule. When it comes to the Mamelodi, we went there, Commissioner, some time ago, and we created a team. Some people were picked up there. They're in for a long time. They haven't got the bail. The cases are continuing. It's true that the matter and the concerns have been raised again, that it looks like there are some new people that has sprung up in the place of their king that was put in. And for that, I know for sure that the Gauteng management, under the capable leadership of Lieutenant General Mawela, they're working on that. Maybe, again, Commissioner, as we had a very close look on the first batch of the people, we'll have to have a close look on this one, how much successful are the police, because it keeps coming to say there is a new batch of people there that are causing almost similar problem. That's that. Management change, the commissioner will answer on that. There are the transport problems. There are specific problems that have happened in the Western Cape. In Western Cape, there is an attack of Golden Arrow buses, and the MEC there has requested the meeting between the Minister of Police and the Minister of Transport, and the Minister of Transport and Minister of Police, they are ready to attend that meeting with the MEC and the MMC there, because there is attack of these buses, but also there is a problem between the taxi industry and the My City bus. So we'll be working on fixing those things. Specifically, this is Western Cape. But the last...
We're going to just cross out of that media briefing then.
These attacks on Golden Arrow and the taxi industry there. So something already is happening. The truck industry and delivery vans. Delivery vans is a new one. Truck industry has been there for some time. The commissioner has worked especially with the ORS, led by General Mkhwanazi, who is quite appraised with these matters. Whether the special team will be established to look after this, I think will be advised here by the person who leads these special operations under Mkhwanazi. But now he has had some teams that would not be necessarily the national team that will be looking on the main, especially the main provinces that are dealing with these matters. Last time I checked, we had about 15 people that were arrested, especially around Gauteng, on the matters of the truck hijack. So 15 others are in court as we speak. But the question is, are you looking forward? I think that cannot be dismissed at hand, but the facts going forward will tell us what next are we supposed to do. The National Commissioner then will come on the change management. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the opportunity, and Program Director, and thanks to the media for the questions. I think firstly, the changes that are taking place in the Western Cape, they are part and parcel of the stabilization plan of the Western Cape province. I think they stem from the term of the previous provincial commissioner, who was moved to KwaZulu-Natal, and we have put in the national mechanisms to drive the stabilization of the management so that we have a stabilized environment in the province. The recent changes, though they are not yet concluded, they are part of a review of the provincial commissioner leadership in the whole country. We have reached a stage where some of the contracts of the existing provincial commissioners have reached a day of expiry. And I think it's 5 of those provinces. And since there's this stabilization plan of the Western Cape, we have linked this particular stabilization plan to the total reorganization plan of the South African Police Service. This is what I can say for now, but the process is still ongoing until we implement the whole plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, General, for that clarity on the Western Cape. We are going to take the second round of questions. We do have with us reporters that are in-house. Are you able to maybe identify yourselves and also the organization that you represent? I see 3 hands already. I'll take the first 3 hands that I see. Sipo?
Good day, Sipo Silman from SABC News. First question, we're seeing an increase in both rape cases and murders in the last 3 months of 2020. What has gone wrong and what are you going to do to correct this? Also, number 2, perhaps not related to this, but we have to ask because we are here. What is the nature of the minister's visit to the former president, Jacob Zuma, in Uganda yesterday? Was it a political party matter or was it a government matter matter. We assume that it's a government matter, considering that your motorcade there seems to have been a state-sponsored motorcade visiting. So we're trying to understand what is the nature of that, if you can just take us into confidence.
Thank you for that question, Sipho. Lindo?
Lindo from ENCA. Thank you, Sipho, for that one, so I don't have to ask it. The second one is, of course, after Forum, they released a report during the week, and they said that, according to their stats, that 64 farm murders have taken place just in the year, for the entire year of 2020. And they also say that there's reluctance from the police to actually declare farm attacks and farm murders as a priority crime. Just a response on that from the minister. And then the third quarter obviously intends two alert levels, level 1 and the adjusted level 3. And we saw a significant decline when we went back to level 3, even if it was just 15 minutes remaining of the year. But just what are some of the specific things that you had observed that you might have been able to pinpoint to say are the reasons for some of the declines in many of the crimes? And then the last one is, of course, concerning photos. We remember that we are still on adjusted level 3, and many gatherings are not allowed. But what we are seeing in Free State as there is the appearance of the NCSG as well as other accused, there is gatherings that are taking place there. So just a question on what has been done to prepare against that, and since it has happened, what will be done to hold those who are responsible for that accountable? Thank you.
All right, Lindo, that is a barrage of questions. We'll take the last one. Pilani.
Thank you, Sipho. Thank you, Lindo. I think you have quite hit it there. But just to add on Sipho's question, Minister, was it perhaps, as well as speculating, that your visit to the former president was partly to persuade him to not continue with his refusal to appear before the Zondo Commission? Just to add on Sipho's question. And secondly, on your statistics here, we've seen that the rape cases seem to have increased somewhat, but talk to us about the conviction rate. Yes, we are seeing convictions, but only 190 over the last 3 months or so, and that is contrary to the number of cases that have been registered. Any work to ensure that you support the investigating officers to ensure that we get more convictions in that regard? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Those are the questions for now, Minister. Can we maybe let's just open it up to the WhatsApp group. I know that you have indicated, Takalani, that you do have questions that are maybe touching on what has been asked. Can you just maybe confirm that so that we don't, prolong this series? Takalani?
Thanks, Leon. I think the question of the minister's visit to the former president is very much prominently here on the WhatsApp platform, but maybe something unrelated which we can ask here. The minister, there's a question that is coming from Hauhero Maholeho at UFM. The question is, why did police go out of their way to accommodate Ace Mahashu's supporters in Bloemfontein this morning instead of enforcing COVID-19 regulations? And by going out of their way, he said, attending with the purpose of ensuring the gathering goes well, even deploying a barbed wire instead of simply preventing people from gathering as per the regulations. And the second question is, recently a large contingent of police officers disrupted the funeral of soccer star Mcheka Madisha in the Zebia Limpopo in an attempt to arrest his grieving parents. And in light of the tolerance officers displayed in dealing with violations by those linked to the ruling elite, does the minister regret the Mcheka Madisha disruption, or don't you think the family deserves an apology? And Yan Jilang also took a cue from this question, saying, in Belleville, the SABC blasted applicants for social grants with a water cannon last month. How do you explain this inconsistency?
Sure. Takalani, that I guess wraps up our questions for the day. All right, perfect. That's the last question, Minister, which relates to the incidents in Belleville in the Western Cape. And over to you. There was a button, Minister. We'll remind you as we go.
The operations at Free State, the National Commissioner will answer about barbed wires and all that. The increase in rape and murder really is an unfortunate situation that all of us we must really look at it. But when the details are given, I'm sure you are aware to say there's quite a big number of people that they die and raped where they're supposed to be safe. Where they're raped and died either in the place of the perpetrator or the place of the victim, which tells you the story that those are people that know each other. It's a call that sometimes, but I'm glad some people are beginning to pick it up to say this matter of rape, even murder, is a societal matter that most of us will have to be involved. For instance, the question of rape and abuse of women. Families and friends will have to look and be very much involved in it. By the time a perpetrator is found or the victim goes to police station, it has already happened in the house where he or she is, in the house where they were all partying together. From the side of the police, I fully agree and concede that we'll have to do our own to put our house in order. If I say our house in order, I'll be really lying. I received so many calls. General Linda is not here. I received so many calls that I passed to General Linda to say police are not treating well the cases of rape and the cases of sexual abuse, of which when you pick it up, you realize that our members did not do very well. We have agreed that with the management, we'll create a new register. Actually, the secretariat, the secretaries here, they've developed a tool to go to the police stations to check the cases of sexual abuse and rape that have been opened. What happened to the person that opened the case? Where is the case and all that kind of thing? So that we understand and we are better placed to understand what are we doing as a police at our police station. But as we do that, we are calling on communities, the families, the friends, to do better. This thing of calling women to withdraw the cases because it brings embarrassment, it brings shame in the family, must come to an end. Those people must support the victims and not support the perpetrators, because a perpetrator is a father, is uncle and all that. So it's all of us that we need to pull together on this one. I don't want to say much about the impact of alcohol on those cases, including in the houses, including in the public places where we talk. I don't want to say much about that. So much has been said. Maybe I will come back on that the other day. Free State will answer. The Nkandla. I was in Nkandla yesterday. Surely I did not drink the tea. I did drink water. I think that was that. What were you doing there? The details are fine. I have put some, what they call it in news, the short thing, what you call headline, not headline. Not highlights. there is a term. There is a term that they use. With the president last night, and I spoke to the DSG of the ANC. Now, I'm asked did I manage to split myself? Did I manage to split myself that, look, this half is an ANC NEC and this half is the minister? No. I would talk about things as they cross to government and as they cross to ANC. We really will not put comma and full stop on that particular matter. We spoke about some several things, including all other things that are prevailing, but more so for me to be able to report back. The other question that comes from here is I think is from Honorable Member Mazoni, who says, why should I visit a person that is about to be arrested, some of the sort. I don't know if he has been arrested, and maybe he knows what I do not know. So far, I did not visit a person that has been arrested for not appearing in the commission. That's one. But other thing is because maybe this is a high profile. There are many cases where we make the visit if you can make a contribution to prevent the thing to happen before it happens and becomes a disaster, if it does become a disaster. We still have the Marikanas. Many people, they believe that many things would have been done before that could have happened. So it was on that score to speak to the former president, to raise some concerns that were raised, to hear his concern and see where to take those concerns forward, for both as a responsible citizen of the country, but as a person that have extra responsibility, that if things can be prevented is always much better than the react after those things have happened. The state cars, as long as the minister, even when we campaign, we are allowed to use these state cars. So I would not have then taken an Uber to go and see the former president. So I took the cars that are there, and really several things were spoken. And as I've said, it was a broader kind of discussion with the aim, if we can find a solution before maybe those other times where you find yourself crossing the line, you find yourself having a problem that you could have managed to stop. It was that kind of talk. The rape high, but only 121 people that are arrested. No, 121 life sentence, not arrested, not sentenced. 129 life sentences in 3 months. I announced the 35 years of Solopule. That does not come, is not mentioned here. There are many 35 years, there are many 50s, there are many. We can develop, we can come with that all kinds. What we put here is people that have found life sentence, which is 129 in 3 months. The police and their bias, taking the study case of Belleville. Look, with the management, we went to Belleville, Western Cape, and we raised an issue that it was not correct. The way the police behaved both in Belleville and in Muizenberg Beach, it wasn't correct. And it was also reported in the other beach, I forget the name of the beach, Fishhook. We twice on those incidents went to Western Cape to say police must explain with the management to us why they would go to Belleville to vulnerable elderly people, sick people, young people, disabled people, hungry, desperate people, and use the method that you use to people that are protesting. Those people were not protesting. And that report has been called that it comes to the police. I heard that the MEC Western Cape has also called the report on that one. But at the same time, police, they look at the people in Muizenberg who are breaking the law, who are saying we shall not respect the law, go there, and they go there and do this. So it's a matter that we've raised, and it's a matter that action must be and is being taken on it. A week later, there were people at Fishhook who went there and deliberately having a campaign of taking off the mask. So at the initial stage, they said, well, those that started the law, they understand, they said it was prohibited not to go to water, but not criminal. Now, I don't know, they'll explain that as they give the full report. But on this one of mask, it's in the regulation that the member of the South African police or the enforcer must remind you to put your mask. If you don't, you get arrested. So that's a reason that we had to go there. Fortunately, some people have been arrested there on that one. Though I went to 2 police stations, the Fishhook and the other police station, where the journalists, female journalists, were abused by those thugs, because those guys were nothing but thugs who were doing the thing and abused the journalists. One of the journalists went to our station at Fishhook to open the case, and the journalist was double abused at that police station. I'm very glad that that police, that captain, the action has been taken against him who abused that journalist. But the same journalist went to other police station where the case was opened. So is this question of finding this imbalanced kind of behavior from our members and our police station. But we simply say, where they are not doing well, we will take the action. And with what you are saying, this kind of imbalance, police not doing proper, that response has been done. I think. The soccer star, I understand that the police were responded to the family by arresting or wanting to arrest the father. The problem here is that was the law broken? That's unfortunate part of it. Was the law broken? They were warned and continue to do so. The matter, as we understand, is that people were there, and people did what we're not supposed to do. Exactly what I would not tell, but the report also has been requested to come. If police have done incorrect things, yes, we'll act on the police. But if police have done the correct thing, nothing we can do when they have kept the law. Some of these matters you follow up, as you know, that in one was Mpumalanga Premier. That one was followed up at the later stage, was taken to police station, paid the fine, took all what is supposed to happen. Some of these things can happen thereafter rather than in that particular time. The issue here was the law broken, were regulations broken. If there were, it's unfortunate that it's a funeral, but the law will still have to be implemented. The law will be still enforced, and the question of people complaining will be taken care of, but not at the expense of dealing with the law. So I think I am fine, or maybe one, the Afro-Forum. The Afro-Forum, well, Afro-Forum, they must bring their figures, where they get their figures. They must bring their figures where they get their figures. These are the figures we have in these 3 months. But also, we have put so much effort. We have put so much effort in dealing with the farming community. I've been meeting, we have been meeting farming community, Free State and all. We have put the structures together, and these outcomes we see, even the reduction of the stock theft, comes from working together. Are we making the crime a special crime? No, crime is all the crime. We'll work as such and will respond as such, together as meeting the communities as we've done, but also arresting people there. Quite a big number, in particular in Free State, many people have been arrested since the Senegal thing, working with the police there. There is a report. We are even looking at arresting our own members of the South African Police Service that didn't do what they were supposed to do and collaborated with criminal in that particular area. That investigation has been done, and we are working together with communities on this one. Alpha Forum, you have information, come forward to us, and let's work on that information. The information we have now is what is here, collected with our police station as people open the cases, and then we'll know that. The Commissioner will talk about the Free State operations.
Thank you, Minister, once again for the opportunity, Program Director, and thanks to the media for the question. I'm going to answer this question in threefold. Firstly, in terms of the Critical Infrastructure Control Act, if a court is not declared a national key point, then it remains a strategic installation. For any strategic installation or national key point, the police has got an obligation to secure, especially when it is in operation. Therefore, in the Free State, we have a court in operation today, and the court there is classified under strategic installation. The second part, it depends on the nature of event or nature of operation that takes place in any area. But the police, as a prerequisite, will deploy intelligence. And there would be an intelligence exercise conducted, and they will come out with a risk assessment which will set out a deployment requirement. Therefore, the deployments which are there, they are informed by the intelligence analysis which has been conducted. That include the deployment of the barbed wire as a temporal physical security requirement for securing the court, which is part of the security plan. Yes, we are under the Disaster Management Act period, and yes, there's also non-compliance observed there. The Provincial Commissioner, as I'm speaking, has already instructed the District Commissioner to open a case, and that case has been registered, and the Provincial Commissioner has further assembled a team to investigate the case so that it is brought before court within a reasonable space of time. So that is the action and the response that the police has taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General. This brings a close to our quarterly crime stats release. Thank you so much, members of the media, for indulging us for the past almost 2 hours. Thank you so much to the Minister of Police, to the Deputy Minister, to the National Commissioner, to the 2 generals who have joined us today, and of course to you, members of the media, for coming through and taking our message to the people. With that, I'd like to bring this media briefing to a close. Thank you. Almost.
Less than 1.5 hours.
Now,